Hi, welcome to the Jansen Art Studio. I'm David Jansen. I'd like to take a couple minutes and explain to you about gouache medium. Because a lot of you write and you don't understand what gouache is. There are so many different types of paints out there, and it can get very, very confusing. And one of the things that we're trying to do with Heritage Multimedia is to be able to do some of the techniques that these various types of paints can do, but you only use one paint. So we add different mediums to do different things. To the regular tube acrylics, when you get a Heritage Multimedia, you get it into a tube that's like this, okay? And you can add extender mediums to it, and you make the paints what we call global, where you can work for a very long time. And that word global comes from the old Dutch term in where they used to work a paint globally, work the entire painting globally, work the whole thing. They called it a global working of colors. And so we were never able to do that with acrylics, and once we're able to do it now with global colors, we can work the whole painting at a time because global colors stay wet for a long time. So we take this tube of acrylic and we add extender mediums to it, and the extender mediums extend the drying time where you can paint like oils, up to 30 hours in some cases. Now, you can take this tube of acrylic and you can add other mediums to it. We're going to show you other things to do in the future, faux finishing mediums to do transparent painting techniques and so on and so forth. But one of the techniques that's our most popular that we developed several years ago was watercolor. Now, when we first developed the Jansen Art line, we did watercolor. We made a medium called a watercolor medium. And we put the chemicals in there at a concentration. And this concentration worked very well. And then when we upgraded to the Heritage Multimedia paint in 2008, changing the binder, adding more pigment so that the paints can do, and their paints are heavier. When you put them out, the paints are thicker. They're a very thick acrylic paint. They're not a fluid acrylic. They're a thick acrylic paint. When we did that, we needed to change and rework our watercolor medium. And so for the last couple of years, we pulled the watercolor medium back off the line. Now we've brought it back out, and we have the watercolor medium with the new gouache formula. And it sits in now at a 300% increase in concentration of the medium to work against the thicker paints that we have. And so you can now do watercolor technique, but because the paint is now thick, and because there's so much pigment in this paint, we can also do gouache painting techniques. Now, gouache is just opaque watercolor, okay? And we have several videos that I'm going to show you some of the different techniques of gouache. What is a gouache? Basically what it is you can paint with it. And what I do is I take my paints, I put it out, I brush mix in, I put out my watercolor medium into a little cap that's like this, and we use it here. This is a palette that I just finished painting with, and I put my watercolor medium out in a cap that's just like this. And as I'm painting, as I go to paint, I just take my brush and I brush mix this into the color. So I'll just say, for example, here I'll brush mix it. There are a number of ways in which that you can add the watercolor medium or gouache medium into the paint. One is by brush mixing like this. The other way is just to physically mix it into the paint as you put it out onto your palette. I like to put my colors out on my palette just like this, squirt them out on this. Now this palette that I have here just did 2 paintings for me. And I just put out a little bit of color as I need them. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But the watercolor medium itself, what does that do? The gouache medium, what does it do? It makes the colors here that you're working on your palette here, it makes them reconstitute with water. Now there's a little bit here that's still a little wet, but over here you can see that this is very dry. Okay, then this painting is completely dry. All I have to do is just mist this with water like this, and I use a little mister bottle. You can use a mister bottle, you can use a brush, you'll see me do many things. And now you'll see, boom, this all comes back to working again. See, everything comes back to working again completely. So even though everything out here might be a little bit dry and everything like that, you can come in and you can take water, you can take anything, take a paper towel, take water, and you can go through and clean all of this off here, just like this. You can see you can take all of this off, all this paint here. It reconstitutes, the water makes it reconstitute. Now what does that do? Why is that great? Because you can work on paintings. What I do is I'll take paintings and I'll work on them. And instead of, working in the constraints of the colors drying, I will mist it with water if I want to work it again. So if I'm doing a big painting, any area that I want to work on again, I just give a light coat of misting, and then I can soften it with my hand, or I can soften it with my brush. I can just work in and work the colors together. I can leave it without doing that as well. So there are some edges like on roses and stuff like that I'll show you in these videos. I'll like to put it on dry and decide later whether or not I want to blend those out. And I can blend it out just by putting some water into the brush and going in and working that over it, or I can mist it. There's a number of different techniques that we'll show you. But basically what the gouache medium does is it takes the Heritage acrylic, which normally dries hard in about 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. And what it does is it doesn't allow it to dry hard. It keeps it open so that any time that you add water, either misting or onto a brush, it will reconstitute and rework up for you again. Can you varnish it? Yes, we have a technique that'll allow you to varnish it when it's all done. We'll show you all of that. But this is a brand new, wonderful, very versatile medium that's very exciting to paint with, because now you don't have to worry about if your paint's dry or not and still being able to blend them or soften them out, because you can always just mist a little water and do it again, okay? We hope that you give the Heritage Gouache Medium a try. It is a lot of fun. It does not work with other brands of acrylics or fluid acrylics. It's not designed to work with fluid acrylics. It's designed to work with the thicker acrylics of the Heritage Multimedia. So don't get this if you're going to be trying it with other acrylics. It will not work with other acrylics. It's designed to work with us. And it's completely 100% non-toxic. You don't have to worry anything about it. It's a great medium. Give it a try, and we'll look forward to painting with you on some of our gouache videos. Till then, take care. Have a great painting day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.